All right, so I guess they tell everybody it's being recorded. So good evening, everybody. My name is John Ziemba. For those of you I haven't had the opportunity to have as on one of my webinars before, I am a tech trainer all around. That's where my passion is in tech training. I'm also a licensed agent in the state of Illinois. And I want to thank you all for coming to this, I guess, initial launch of Command Cocktails. So I hope you have your favorite cocktail here, and I'm drinking water, so don't feel too bad if you're not, and I hope you will enjoy this here. So what we're going to do here is, I think the best thing to do would, rather than try to follow along with the clicks, is just take a few minutes and kind of watch, and I'll walk you through the whole process, and that way you can always refer to the recording. I will post this on my YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/my name, John Ziemba, or Mr. John Ziemba. They both work, I believe. So you'll be able to find the recording of this. And this is good if you need to, if you have an assistant that helps you in your business. This is also something else that they can refer to. So I find that this is probably one of the most requested things, is how do I use email and command? And we're going to focus on one very specific topic here. So what I thought would be most relevant in this time right now is how to send either a new listing, right, to a client. So an email about a new listing, not necessarily to a client, but to your sphere of influence, to say, hey, I just listed this house. Hey, this house is under contract. Hey, I just closed on this house, just sold, whatever language that you use here. So this technique that I show you is very scalable and it's repeatable. So if you do it in the way that I kind of explained it here, I think it makes it as easy as possible. And with inventory being as low as it is now in most areas, I'm going to pick on Sue here. Are you guys having inventory issues in Canada?
Oh yeah.
Okay. So
It's starting to come back though. Our government just put a stress test in, so you have to qualify at a much higher rate than our current interest rates, and they just increased it. So
it's interesting how you guys have, your government has always tried to regulate housing much more stringently than the United States government. So fascinating to see that. So what we're going to do here is I've come up with a little bit of a kind of what I suggest, how I think is the easiest way to do this. And the more you prepare for this ahead of time, it's significantly easier when you actually go and send the email. Okay. So since we're going to be talking about a specific listing, in order to do this quickly, if you have 3 photos, the address, the price, the beds, baths, square footage. Now, sometimes in certain areas like our area, square footage is kind of like the boogeyman's number. So somebody just made it up. And maybe it's accurate, maybe it's not. So these aren't necessarily required, but this is in the email template. These are the three options or items that they have. They're already done there. Some information about the home. So this might even be like the MLS description that you have on the MLS. A link to the webpage about the home. So those are kind of in order to prepare. And then when we choose, or when we get ready to create an email list, we're going to create an email list. So if you have the people identified properly ahead of time, such as, for example, if you have tags in your database, that makes it very easy. And we'll talk a little bit more about that. And then when we create the campaign, again, this is a one-off email. We're going to just need a campaign name, a recipient list, and a subject. So if I was advising you, I would say, hey, look, at the first time you want to send an email and you've never sent one back for command, I would time block about an hour. I'm not saying it's going to take an hour, but mentally you should say, you know what? I'm going to take an hour and I'm going to dedicate this solely to this task. What I find is a lot of people, they start to send an email as they're getting ready 15 minutes to leave the office to go pick up their kids. And they have three phone calls came in between, and then they wonder why they've spent 3 hours trying to send an email and why they've struggled so much. So the more of this information that you have up front, the easier it makes everything, the process go along as we continue to go. So what I like to do, and there's more than one way to do this. So I think I just want to stress this is what I feel is the best practice, because it's kind of a modular approach. So meaning that you could stop at any one of these options here and then be able to pick it up really easy. In addition, if you had an assistant, you could have them do one of these options and maybe you you do some of the rest of it. So we're going to start off by actually creating an email design here. And this is what this will eventually look like. Well, it will be something like this. This is the one that I did for an example here, just listed. It's got the information about the property, view listing, and this should go to my website if I did this correctly. And this goes directly to the property listing on my website. So we'll talk a little bit about that. We'll see my information here and so forth. So this is what the email will look like when you're done with it. And you have the ability to add different tweaks as needed. Okay. So I'm just going to make sure and double check and make sure somebody isn't tagging me, struggling to get on before I continue to go. Somebody's saying they missed it. It's on right now. All right. So let's start off with starting to create what I call the content for the email. So that's actually going to be done in designs. So anytime we log into Command, if we click on the KW in the top left-hand corner, we get the pop out with the different names of the different applets. I find that I still have to do this just because I like reading the words. So I'm actually going to click on designs, and now I'm going to be in the designs, what's called my design templates. Don't worry about which one you're on, because sometimes you might be selected here or somewhere else. What we're actually going to do to initiate this process is click on the plus in the bottom right-hand corner. So again, the best thing to do is just kind of follow along. You'll understand the process a little bit. So again, all I did was go into designs right here, and then I click on the plus in the bottom right-hand corner, and it says create design, and it's going to ask me what type of design do I want to create. And for this example that we're doing, since we're doing email, we're going to select email and then click next. And what we want to notice here is at the top, now this brings us into the design templates that are available. So I have what are called KWRI templates and my design templates. I think the best way, instead of saying my design templates, these should be my saved designs, right? So these are saved ones that you have made yourself. So by default, it's going to load to KWRI templates, and you're going to be looking and say, hey, I know I created one, but I don't quite remember the name, or I don't know where to find it. So you're going to actually click on my design templates to see saved ones that you have previously saved. Again, we're going to be very focused on the listing. So what you can see is there's a bunch of different templates here. The one we're actually going to do is, as we scroll down, what you'll notice is it'll do 16 at a time. And if I keep clicking load more, it will load more templates. And in this example, I find the modern templates, I like the way that they look. So what you'll see is I have a modern featured home. You have several modern: basic, just listed, for sale, open house, just sold. And I'll even show you how to kind of hack the one that we're going to do to use it multiple times. So in order to choose this one, all we need to do is click on it. Now, I've seen previews in certain other areas here, but for this one, in order to preview it or see it or edit it, you just need to click on it. I'm getting a little feedback here, so I'm going to mute everybody here if I can. I think I got everybody. Okay. So we're going to just choose the modern just listed. So when we choose the modern just listed by clicking on it, and then this will select it. We're just going to click next in the bottom right-hand corner, and this will open it up. Now, what you will see is that this is the template. So the first thing I would suggest you do is, does anybody have a listing that's not under contract right now? All right, so we're going to use the same listing here. So I have one here on Warren Boulevard that we're going to look at. So you can see that's the address. So what I would do, the first thing that I would do is I would change the title, right? So I would say 24 or 2943 Warren. I know this is unit 3. Okay, I'm just going to put some descriptive title, just listed. I know what the postcard is. I don't need to put a big description. This just allows me to find it. And I'm going to say, I'm going to call this actually version 3, because I've practiced on this a couple times. So I want to be able to easily find it when we go to the next step. So what you'll notice is that on the left-hand side, you'll see there's some items here that aren't quite showing up right. Agent first name, agent last name, agent designations. All these different options are showing up. These will be preloaded from your marketing profile, and we will talk about that at the end there, because we may need to edit that. But what you'll notice here is that you just listed this photo, these 2 photos here, the text and the view listing are all able to be edited. In addition, if I want to add additional items here, I can simply drag and drop it. I'm not going to spend a lot of time dragging and dropping the items on the right-hand side, but I'm just letting you know that that's an option. So for example, if you had a video about a property, you could simply just drag this over and put the YouTube or Vimeo link. And again, it has to be hosted somewhere else. So it has to either be on YouTube or Vimeo right now is the best way to do that. So what you'll notice here is I have this gray box for the pictures, and you'll see I have 3 pictures. And if we go back kind of to this option here, 3 photos, address, price, beds, bath, square footage, about the home, link to web page. If you look at how this is laid out, 3 photos, address, price, beds, bath, square footage, view listing. Okay. So if I've prepared ahead of time, there's a couple things that I can do. I have my photos. I like to just usually have the photos on my hard drive, but let's just say I didn't have the photos. I have an MLS listing that for some reason isn't selling, or I want to get marketing on it. I can just simply click the gray photo here, and I can click replace. And it's going to say, do I want my image, listing images, or add images? Now, if I go to listing images, all I need to do is search for the property address. And what I can do is I can find that property, and I can insert the images directly from the MLS. Now, when I get this image here, I can have the option of doing some different customizations here. I leave those alone, but you want to make sure you click done in the top left-hand corner. That inserts the picture directly into your email here. And then I can go down to the other 2 pictures, and it's the same thing. I can click the edit, I can hit replace, and again, I can go to the listing images and do 2943 Warren and find another listing image that I like for that property. How about this? We'll take the one. And again, once we get it in here, all we need to do is click done, and it will insert it there. Additionally, if we have a picture saved on our computer, when we click replace, all we need to do is click add images, and then it's going to say drag and drop browse files here, and I can choose, I think this is the right one that I'm going to choose for here, and then I can just click select it down here. So I'm going to add it, select it, hit replace, then click done, and that's going to add it directly here. Okay. So just understand that that's how we can add images. Now what we can do here is like, so for example, we have the address. So I like to just copy and paste it. So again, I have found this on my website. I can click on this address, and if I click on the pencil icon, it will give me this editor right here that I can use. Now in this editor, I can do a couple different things. I can change the name of the font of the text. I can change the font. I can bold it. I can also change the color. So I can change the color and the size here. When I'm done here, I'm just going to simply click done, and now it's going to add it. So in this case, it went to a black text, but let's just say I wanted to go to white. Again, the A with the underline, this is a little bit different than maybe what you've seen in other places, but the A with the underline is how you change the color of the text. Let's see if it's going to work. That worked real well. So let me try highlighting that. It doesn't want to work for me right now. So in theory, that's how you would change the color of the text right there. We also have some other formatting options here. I'm just going to click done. There we go. Finally got it to go to white. Now, again, we have the price here. Again, if we click the edit, we can simply type over this price. So this one is going to be, I think, 235, 1, 2, 3 zeros here. So again, if you know this information, it makes it really easy. Again, don't forget to click done. I have a bad habit of clicking stuff over on there and doesn't always save it properly. So we're going to say this is a 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 1,200 square foot condo. Okay. Again, I'm going to click done. And now I have the description. So I have 2 description boxes here. If I need to delete one, I can just simply come over here and click on this bottom box and then click the garbage can, which will delete it. In the meantime, I can, let's see. If I had the description, which I don't seem to see it on here. Let's see more. There we go. So I'm not quite sure why the description isn't showing up on here. I don't know if that's an agent error. But if I had the description on here, I could copy and paste it here, which I did have the description before. So I'm just going to copy and paste it. I'm not sure why it's not showing up on my website. So I can copy the description. Again, all I need to do is click on this text box. I click the edit option. I can simply come over here and click paste and click done, and then that will paste the text directly in there. Now, before we get done, we want to make sure that we update this link here where it says view listing. I can come here and I can click edit. And now it says link to. In this case, we're going to say web address because that's where we're headed to. Because we're going to do actually a page on our website. So this is the listing page for that particular property. I just copied that URL, so I highlight it. I did a right click and I do a copy. And then I can come over here where it says web address and add that whole address directly in there and then click done. And now I have all that information here. So in this case, what I always like to do is I like to click save just to make sure if something were to happen, I were to get a phone call, walk away from the computer, I don't lose anything. I've changed the name as I've done previously. If I want to see how this looks on different devices, I can click the options here between a mobile phone and a computer and a tablet there. Now, one thing people like to do is they want to send a test email. So in order to do the test email, it just says enter an address. Now, what I find is the best thing to do is to don't use the same email address as the one that's your reply to address. Sometimes there's an issue here. So I'm just doing John Z +1@KW. I hit send test email. And this happens pretty quickly. Except for when I'm on the webinar. I'm just going to pull up one of the ones that I had here. So you can see this is what it would look like when you do the test email. Now, if you do your test email and you notice that there are no dashes between your phone numbers, this was an issue that when they initially did the system, they didn't want you to put dashes in, but now it screws up your phone numbers now. So at the end, we're gonna go through on how to fix that. Okay, so you can see this is the one that just tested. I sent right through. I just created it. You guys watched me create it, and I sent the test. So now that we're done with the test, I've clicked save. I'm happy with the way it looks. I can click save and exit. Now I've created the email content. Are there any questions on this particular individual piece of this? I know it's a lot to take in while I am doing it here. So the idea is just to kind of watch right now, understand what to do, and then kind of go back and either review with the video and walk through it on your own. Any questions right now? No? Okay, good. All right, we're going to keep going now. So we did the first piece there, which was pretty easy. If you have the photos, the address, the price, the beds, baths, square footage, about the home, that's pretty easy to do. Now the next one takes a little bit of time, in my experience, creating the list. And you only have to do it once. And so what I'm going to show you is, in order to create an email list, we're actually going to go into campaigns here on the left-hand side. So when I click on campaigns, what I'll notice in the center, top center here, is there's an emails option. I'm going to click on emails. And then I'll notice over here on the right-hand side, I have a thing called email lists. So if I click on email list, it's going to say, here's my email list. Okay. Now, I have the ability to create a list. So I could call it sphere of influence, something of that nature, right? So if I have that and I have people that have tags, I can easily select all the people with that tag and add them to that particular email list. And if I have more than 100, I can click load more, and now I can add, I can do 100 at a time. Okay. So now in this case, I have 204 people with that particular tag. And I can add them all to this email list. In this case, what I'm just going to say is I'm going to call this 6-2 test list. All right. And if I know, like, I have somebody's name in here, liking me here. You know, I still have the, I'm sorry, that's why it's not working. I have the tag still selected. All right, so in this case, what I'm doing is I just search my name. I have 2 contacts to add to this test list. Now, again, once you create this list, it will be saved forever, and you can add and remove people as needed. All right, so I'm creating this list. I've named the list. I've got the contacts in here. I'm going to click confirm. So again, this is kind of a separate piece. I teach this a little bit differently than other trainers, only because I want you to spend the time to make the list. It's a one-time shot. And then one of the things you should be doing, let's just say I have a past clients or a sphere of influence. As people become past clients or I do a transaction, I want to make sure to add them to the list. So maybe that should be something on your closing checklist that you do, is add this person to that group or that email list. Now, I want to just point out one thing here. There's something here that says my email list. Sometimes the nomenclature or the names of items don't exactly match up in command. So I'm just pointing out this is called my email list right here. And this is the list for command email. I can also use MailChimp, but in this perfect example, we're going to use command email. So all I've done so far was I created the content and I created the list. And now what we're going to do is we're going to actually create a campaign. Okay. So think of creating a campaign as sending an email. So I'm just going to start from the beginning. So I'm going to come over to the KW in the top. I'm going to click on campaigns, and I'm going to come back to the campaigns homepage. In the top right-hand corner, I have the option to create a campaign. Once I click create a campaign, it's going to say what kind, and I'm going to choose email because that's what we've been talking about. Now I have to give it a name. So I'm just going to say version 3 Warren. And the only reason why I call it version, because I've done this several times, just listed. Okay. And it's going to say, what is your goal? This doesn't matter. This is just more for tracking than anything. but it has no relevance onto the success of the campaign. So I click attract listings. And again, I'm going to use command email. So all I did was add in the campaign name. I chose my goal. I chose that I'm going to use command email, and I click on create campaign. Okay. And this is where it becomes very easy if we've done those other two steps outside of this, and we're not fumbling around trying to create the email inside the campaign applet. So here is something, this is what I talked about, the names don't quite match up. The recipient list, okay? When I click down here, I can see all my email lists, and you will see I have my 6.2 test list, okay? I could, in theory, create a list. I like to do that separately, okay? So again, this is my test list. Now I can enter the subject, just listed version 3, 2943 Warren. Okay. And you guys are going to want to do this and test this on yourself so you can see if there is a delay from the time that you click the send button to the time that it actually gets sent out, because I'm seeing a delay and I don't know how long that is and if it's different for every person. So I clicked subject, I've edited the subject. Now I'm going to select the design. So again, this is going to be very easy because I've just created my templates. I see here is my template that I created. If I had a question of that, I could preview it and made sure that it was the right one. So I'm going to click select template. And I'm going to just click save and exit. So it allows me to preview it one more time. But I already have that done, so I don't need to make any edits to it. And then I have the option, now that I'm done with this. So basically what we did here was we just gave the campaign a name, which is what we did in the previous, we did the goal, the name. We chose our recipient list, which we made in the previous step. Then we chose the content and we added a subject in there too. So it's pretty easy. Once you've done those other two pieces, it's very easy. So now that I've done this, I can either choose to schedule it, save the draft, or send. And I'm just going to click send. And this is going to send out right now. Now I'm seeing a delay. I'm not exactly sure why. I'm seeing the delay. I'm going to do some more research here. And what we'll notice is that now we can see that this has been sent out, and this will show me my clicks and bounces and so forth, opens, clicks and bounces. So there is some lag time from the time that you hit send to the email actually getting sent out, and there's some lag time on the reporting here. Okay. So what we've done so far is we started by starting off in the designs, which is where we created the email. Right, so we started off in designs, we clicked the plus sign, we chose email, click next, we started out, we created our template. Then we bounced over into campaigns. And what we did is we created the list. So we went to emails, email lists, and we created an email list for our email to go out to. And then what we did is we went over and we clicked on create campaign, and we created an email campaign through this process. So that's just kind of a brief review. Does this make sense to anybody? Any questions, thoughts, concerns? Have you guys had any luck? Not had any luck? Had any issues with this?
Can you address the email so that when each one goes out, it has like their first name in the subject line or in the email? Is that possible?
There is a way to do that, and I don't know. Let me think about it. It's called a merge tag is what you're looking for. And I believe it, I don't want to overcomplicate it right now, but I believe when we go into designs,
Well, I don't want to get us off track then. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, it's a good question. And I think maybe we can cover, if you guys want to come back next week, we can dive in a little bit deeper about
Yeah.
customizations with emails.
Sure, thank you.
And I think, because I think that's a very valid point. And I think I'm going to do this for a few weeks here, seeing how we've got a good turnout today. So then we can,
John,
yes,
I see that you're recording this. Where's it going? Where's this recording going to be at?
it's going to be on my YouTube channel, which is just youtube.com/my name.
Oh, okay.
I think
Okay.
let me make sure it's that actually works. Yeah, so you'll see I have a bunch of other videos and other stuff that I've done there over time. Now, what I noticed is that as command has changed here recently, some of the videos are pretty much in line, but sometimes the icons are a little bit different and or certain things are not quite where they used to be. So just be aware if you're watching anything that's a year old or it might have changed a little bit. Now, after we've done just listed, right, we might want to do under contract. You guys, so I want to send my sphere of influence, hey, I just listed, and then 3 days later, guess what? I'm the greatest realtor in mankind. I got it under contract. So an easy way to do that is when we have in our email design templates is simply click, if we hover over this, we click the ellipsis right here, and we can click make a copy. Okay, so now you will see that there's a copy that has been made. And now what I can do is I can simply come here. It says copy. So I'm going to actually say, instead of version 3, let's see, I'm going to say under contract. Okay, so all I'm doing is taking the same email. I'm going to come here and I'm just going to say under contract, 3 days. Oops, and I clicked off of it. Too many things are flashing here. Under contract in 3 days. Okay, now I didn't change anything else here, and I can, again, if I want to make this bigger, make this, what would make it about 24. I don't remember what. Make it 32. How's that? Does it work? Why does it seem so finicky, this? Yeah, it's not cooperating at the moment. Let's see if we. So now I'm just basically taking the same exact, just listed, and now I'm just changing it to under contract. And then I can come down here and I can say, I'm the world's greatest realtor. I got this home on under contract in 3 days. Do you need to know how much your house is worth? Something of that nature. Or if I could just, I don't have to change it, but I can change it. So now I can easily use the same piece. I always like to click save first. I click save and exit. And now it's very easy if I just go to campaigns. This is the reason why you spend a little bit more time ahead of time. Because now when I click create campaign, email, and now I'm just going to say under contract, 2943 Warren. Now again, the client people don't see this particular campaign. Tracked listings, command email, create campaign. Now my recipient list, again, if we already have this recipient list done, now all we need to say is under contract in 3 days. John does it again. Okay, and then all I have to do is come here, select this design. Again, so I just took the same exact thing and literally in several minutes used the same exact thing, click send. Send now, and I've sent an email here. So this is the power about being purposeful and doing some of that work ahead. So now I just use the just listed under contract. And again, if I wanted to do the same thing and go to designs, and I can come here and I can click make a copy. So again, I just did under contract. And I think this is very powerful. I don't know if you guys agree or not. And now I can say, edit this, just sold. Done. So this is why I like to teach it this way, because now it kind of compartmentalizes the skills needed. And when you do this, it makes it very easy to kind of use the same content over and over and just change minimal items here. Okay. Any questions you guys have?
Hey, John, I have a question. On the, when you're in the editor and on the right-hand side, you've got content and all those different icons like text or whatever. There's two, one's that's called event black and one's called listing black. What is that? A block.
So let's do this
Are
because
they,
I
I don't know. I've seen them before.
right. So event block, I'll throw them in here and we'll take a look at them together. I'll talk a little bit more about this next week because I think this would be a good,
Okay.
rather than try to go off. So if you have, what I found that this works well for, if you have like an Eventbrite option here, you'd put a picture here and then the link to the event. Does that make sense?
Okay.
Like a
Yeah.
Like Red Day, or if you're having like,
right.
you know, something like that.
That would, let's see, can I delete this out? If I just hit delete, will that work? Then the other one was listing block. Let's see if that's gonna. So that's just a thing where I can put some information about a listing here. So if I had, let's just say I had
Okay.
multiple listings that I wanted to kind of put at the bottom of this, like this may not be your house, this might not be the house that you're interested in, right? But here's 3 other ones that might be of interest to you and they're clickable links. So we'll talk a little bit about that tomorrow because again, or next week, because what you'll notice here. There we go. What you'll notice is that when I do that as well, there was a, let's say, for any one of these, there is a merge tag. And we'll talk a little bit. I want to make sure that I go over that properly because I think that that requires kind of its own separate item. So what we'll do is talk a little bit more about custom emails next week because I think that what I want to show, my goal for you to understand out of this class was how to send something specific to a specific listing quickly. And I think I've showed you this. And then next week, we'll talk a little bit about making custom emails and the different options that are available.
John, can you take us through where, if we had to change the phone number, where we would go with that?
That's an awesome question. Thanks for reminding me because it was on my list here. Review marketing profile, settings, connect settings, marketing profile. So when we come over here inside command, and I just always kind of start from my home screen here, I click on my name in the top right-hand corner or click on my name. I get the drop down and we click on settings. And then over on the left-hand side, we have the option that says connect settings. And then under connect settings, we have our marketing profile. And what we'll notice as we scroll down, for a long time, they did not want you to put dashes in here. And now in order to get this information to populate properly, it has to have dashes in it. Okay. So again, once you're done with and making any edits to here, click save. Again, how we got there was we clicked on your name, clicked on settings, then on the left-hand side, clicked on connect settings. And when we got the drop down, we went to marketing profile. And I think there's actually, I have my mobile phone, my office phone, then I had the brokerage phone number. Those were the places that I had to add the dashes. All right, you guys have any other questions? And again, don't forget to click save when you're done here. Any other questions, thoughts, or concerns? Any other
No,
general
thanks,
questions? Any other general questions about command that you might have?
The sheet that you just referred to take us through the steps, is that something that's in the Facebook group or something that you could share with us so we can put
yeah,
a part of our manual?
Let me do this. Ask and you shall receive. So I'll stop the recording right now and I'll get this right over here since.